Hello YouTube, fellow YouTubers out there, YouTube Nation. Hey, thanks and welcome to the show. Today, this is the 85 gallon that sits in my bedroom, and this is one I'll be performing a water change on first. So you can see Poseidon's already fell over. He needs to be straightened up, and the substrate, the gravel, needs to be vacuumed out and cleaned up a little bit. And that's what we're going to do today. Also, we're going to take the canister, which is down here. We're going to take the canister outside, take some of the media out of it and clean it up and wash it and rinse it and put it back in there. And also, you can hear that sound. It's not running too quiet, which can pose a little bit of a problem in the bedroom because, you know, my bed's right here. This is where I sleep, and here's the tank. And I think there's a turbine in there we got to kind of tighten up and you know, make sure everything's going straight with that and eliminate some of that noise. One of the first things I want to talk to you about is, you know, so many people say, Jay, I'd like to have fish aquariums, but there's so much maintenance, there's so much money, so much cost involved, so much this, so much that, all my fish die, everything goes wrong. And I'm not an expert. I've only had this tank for like 3 months and maybe 4 months, and I've done one water change. I filled it up, set it up, done one water change, and you know, that's basically all I've done to it. And it doesn't have to be hard. I know there's a lot of expert advice out there, but really this tutorial is about if you're a novice, a beginner, and easiest way to do it so you can enjoy having an aquarium, not be afraid of it. The supplies we're going to use today, a long list of stuff. Bear with me. A gravel vac. Yeah, that's going to come in pretty handy. A 5-gallon bucket. And a glass of wine. Just cheap, dark blend, Food City, comes in a box, put it in the fridge. Alright, cheap wine. You gotta have the wine to enjoy the fish. You don't have to, but it works for me. Enjoy the fish, enjoy the aquarium, enjoy what you're doing. Sip a little wine. Alright, welcome back. The first thing, now we got all our products and stuff lined up. The first thing we want to do is go ahead and pop the top on this bad boy. Like I say, it's an 85-gallon tank. It's got I probably got upwards to 20 or 30 fish in there. So, you know, what we're doing is getting the nitrates out of the gravel. All right, and that's basically comes from the fish feces. The fish feces, it goes down in there, it gets in the gravel. The more fish you got, the more you're gonna have. So basically it's time for a water change. All right, so this just goes in there. It's so easy. Pump it a couple times. We don't have to suck on the hose. You don't want to suck on the hose. We just want to pump on the tank and get it going. All right, if you can see right here where I'm taking it out, as I go in there, how the color of the water changes. It's pulling the nitrates out of the gravel. What I do is I like to start on one side of the tank and then work around to the other side. When you do a water change, so many people talk about all the different amounts you should take out, whether it's 10%, 20%, 30%. It doesn't matter. Just by the time you skim across, you know, maybe 20 to 30%. All right, I'm starting to get close to a bucket full of water, and as you start getting close, I just pull this up to the top, let it break the suction, and try to keep it all contained there. We're going to take this and dump it out. Make sure you keep up with the number of buckets you take out, because essentially what you take out is what you're going to put back in. And it also helps with when you got to put the conditioner and the primer in it. All right, you know exactly how much to put back in there. So the water's pretty dirty. You get a shot of that, how dirty the water is going in. Kind of brownish. That's what we're taking out. That's why we do the water change. Well, there's 5 gallons. All right, going back for bucket number 2. All right, go ahead and get started on this side. Once again, I'm gonna prime it, pump it, get it going. Some curious fish swimming around. Hopefully they don't get in there and want to get siphoned up. But this is the second bucket. What I'll probably do is take 3 buckets out. So it's 5-gallon buckets, it's 85-gallon tank. That's pretty close to 20%. So essentially we'll have a 20% water change, and that's about right for this. You know, when we get everything back in there, the water's going to be clear. All right, the fish are going to be healthier, and you know, you don't want to get in there too much and just take away all the bacteria out, because some of the bacteria belongs in there. You know, it's a fish aquarium. They need that stuff. They don't want perfectly clear water. All right, so the purpose of this tutorial is just to really explain how easy it is and actually enjoyable it is. And if you just want to get into the aquarium, if you just want to set up an aquarium, my advice is don't go straight to PetSmart or Petco and buy a brand new tank. My advice is look for something used. You know, something, you know, I got these from a buddy. I know he treated them right and took care of them, and you know, he just want to take a break from the business, and he posted on Facebook to sell. So I got this tank, a 150-gallon tank, which is my saltwater tank, and another one is a reptile tank, which I don't use, all for $400 with the fish, with the canister filters, with the rocks, the Poseidon, all the stuff in there came with it. So, you know, if you buy all that new, you're looking at a couple $1,000. And it don't have to be that way. You don't want to break the bank, you know, just to get started with the fish aquarium. Find the cheapest way into it, and then, you know, spend your extra money on accessories, you know, whether it be some kind of decor, maybe on the fish, maybe on something that you like to put in there. All right, so coming up on bucket number 3, 5-gallon buckets. So this makes 15 gallons that we're taking out, that we're going to replace with fresh water. It's been treated to get the chlorine out of it. One hand, you can't just put regular tap water into your tank without putting primer in it. The prime eliminates all the chlorine. Right, you know, your regular tap water comes with chlorine in it. You know, that's what
the municipal water uses to clean the water so that it's safe for human drinking water. So you got to take that out because it will kill your fish. And it takes a very little bit of the prime, and I'll show you later when we treat the water and put it back in. All right, so this bucket's close to full. So we're gonna go ahead and empty this bucket. And if you had a really dirty tank, there's some other steps you'd need to do. Like if your tank was really dirty and you had a lot of algae, say on the back or on the front, you know, you'd want to brush that down and clean that up. But you know, this tank stays pretty clean. You know, and a lot of that goes to our algae eaters or cleanup crew that we keep in the tank. You know, they do a good job of eating up the algae, taking care of that, and you know, making the tank look good. But so basically, this is just going to be a water change and a canister filter clean. Out for the water change. Next thing we want to do is turn this filter off, disconnect it, and take it to the sink and rinse it out. All right, so that's that. Get it out here. It's got some, just flip the switch. All right, and this disconnects out right here. All right, and all right, so that right there, if you notice what I did, when you pull this down, it allows the water to go into the filter and back up. But when you pull it up to disconnect it, it also shuts off. It's a valve to shut the water off. So as long as it doesn't go down, the water's gonna stay in the tank. Here we go. All right, so we have it in the sink. I have it right here. All right, so we're in. We got the tank here. I'm gonna pop the top. Just these easy connects right here. 4 of them, one on each side. All right, we pop that. All right, and then I'm gonna take the top off. All right. That was our problem right there. That's why it was making so much noise, because you look at this right here, this little turbine. This is the cover for it. The little turbine goes up in there. This goes in there and it locks into place. And you know, it's not staying locked in, right? And when that happens, it's staying in there by a magnet, but it's making all kind of noise. So we're going to see what we can do to fix that, but it's still got to come out to be cleaned. See how it's magnetized, and that's what keeps it in there, but it makes a lot of noise when the scalp's not on it. So we're gonna leave that out so we can clean it. This is the infrared bulb, all right, that keeps the algae, burns off the algae. All right, so we got 4 layers right here of filtering. So that's what we're going to take out and clean. All right. So that has to be clean, washed, just rinsed. You can see the brown on it. That's the fish feces. All right, so that's what we got to clean off. Get it rinsed out, get the nitrates off, and allow that filter to continue to filter and do its job. It doesn't take much, it rinses right off. All right, then a little filter sponge. Get a close look at this, how much comes out. And it's just a rinse, cycle and repeat. Yep. Nothing to it. Easy peasy, right? All right, next one is these little plastic rubber, I don't know what they're called. It's just little bio plastic balls. All right, same thing, just rinse them. Pull them out right here. Basically get down this filter sponge. Do the same thing, rinse it out. Give it a good rinse. If you ever got to replace this, don't go buy the expensive stuff at the pet store. Just basically some sponge. Get some sponge, cheapest place you can find it, and put that back in there. It's gonna filter everything out. Put that back in there. Put this up here. All right, just basically take these, give them a little rinse, like that. Put them in there. A few more, rinse. Come back in there. Rinse, 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 rinse. Come in here. There we go. Get the next one out. Here, look how dirty we are in there. That's how dirty we are. It's real brown, dirty water. All right, same thing here. There's basically a bag of gravels. All right, gravel's a good filter. So the water comes in, goes through about 4 layers of filtration. The gravel, the media balls, the sponges, all that's what filters it. So about once a month you should do this. But to be honest with you, the last time I did this was during Christmas break, so you're looking about 2.5 months. And part of it's, the month's a rule of thumb to go by, but at the same time, just go by what it looks like. I don't ever do water tests, chemical tests. I don't ever test any of that stuff in there. So just, if it looks bad, if it looks dirty, then do a water change. More filter sponge. Get it rinsed out. Couple. Some more filter sponge. Yeah, it's dirty. Needs rinsed. this up here out of the way. And then alright, once again, you see how dirty that is, all that sediment down at the bottom. That's what we gotta get cleaned out too. So go ahead and dump this. Yep. Lots of debris to get out of there. Good thing I fixed the drain under the house yesterday. You can see that on another YouTube video. So if you're watching this, when you get done, go back and look at it, because yesterday I went under the house, all right, and fixed the main drain line because it wasn't completely exiting out to the sewer line. It was. So basically now we're going to take the trays back in just the way they were. We're getting. Hope I got that turned the right way. Put the sponges back in. Put the gravel in. That in. Alright. And then back to this. Make sure this it's a little washing. That's the like kind of the turbine motor, the fan motor if you will. Does all the circulating. Make sure that wheel's clean. Nothing's built up on it. There's not. So I'm gonna take this, put it back in here. Are you filming? Put it back in here. Let it sit down. Put this thing in there.
Alright, now then the canisters is out, it's being filled up and cleaned, and I've got 20% of the water out. Now's a good time to go back in there if you got any plants or anything that needs to be, you know, cleaned up. Cut some back, cut some dead leaves off. I got one in there I need to cut the leaves off. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I'm cutting some of those leaves back. I'm going to take those rocks, the little rocks, and brush it off those big rocks there, get that cleaned up, and I'm going to straighten up Poseidon. Poseidon took a big fall. It's kind of like Humpty Dumpty there. So we're going to straighten him up, and then basically just clean up the tank. And okay, so I've plugged the canister filter back up. I got it turned on. The blue light's working. That tells me that our infrared light's still good, so I need to change that. Alright, just pump a couple times right here, and I've knocked off my return pipe right there, so, or the inlet, so I'm gonna have to do something to get it put back on there. Get it fastened back to the back of the tank. The suction cup came off. Alright. Oh, I see the problem. See up there at the top? See how it's getting that air? Yeah, I'm gonna have to fix that before it ever prime. So I may just fill it up with water first, get it above that spot, and then let it prime. Okay, we're back. I just filled up the last 5-gallon bucket full of water, and this is what I was talking about, the water conditioner. You need to put this prime in the tap water. All right, and for 5 gallons, it doesn't take much. It's like a very little bit, like 1 milliliter for that 5 gallons. So it don't take much. You can't really overdo it. If you overdo it just a little bit, it's not going to hurt you. But if you overdo it a lot, it's going to suck the oxygen out of the water, and that's going to kill your fish. But this is there to take the chlorine out and ammonia and stuff like that. So just 1 milliliter, which is just, the first mark's 5 milliliters, so that tells you at the very bottom just 1 milliliter for those 5 gallons. I think it says use the attached milliliter dosage cap and add 5 milliliters per 10 gallons of water. 5 milliliters per 10 gallons. So really the 1 milliliter is too much, because 5 milliliters for 10 gallons. So like 2.5 for 5, and I've been putting 1 in there. So, you know, maybe I need to put a little more in it. I'll put just a little bit more just to show you. But it's just just right in there. You know, so maybe that'll get me caught back up, because this is the 3rd bucket I've had, and I've been putting 1 milliliter in it. So, anyways, so here we are. I'm gonna take this in there, pour it in, and that should get us back up to the right water level. Hey, dog. I got a joke for you. Why did the dog cross the road twice? Because it was chasing a boomerang. On Ramsey's case, she chases motorcycles. I don't know why. Nothing else really bothers her, but a motorcycle will. Ain't that right? Ain't that right? You don't like those motorcycles, do you? Okay. So we're full on water. Everything looks good. We've gone in there and cleaned everything up, cut our plants back, brushed the rocks off the big rocks, the gravel off the rocks, and now then, back to this canister filter. Gotta get it primed, get it going, and plug it in. All right, give it a few pumps. Oh, so there's a little bit of debris coming out. That was kind of stuck in the lines. Oh, there's some more. Don't worry about that. It'll work its way back through the filter. Just some loose particle that was in the canister, in the lines, that sort of thing. So,
Sounds better. I was making that noise earlier, and I figured out what it was. There's two on the stem that holds the turbine in that goes from both sides. There's two like rubber bushings that sit on each side of the stem, and I actually had one stem come off in there, so when I tried to put it back on with two, it just wouldn't fit in there because that one spacer was taking up too much room. And anyhow, when I shook it out, I got it out, put it all back together, got in there. Now it's not hardly making a sound. All right, we're back. All right, I just finished 85-gallon aquarium. Okay, now then coming to the living room. All right, and we're gonna do a water change on the 30-gallon aquarium. There's not much going on here as far as fish. I got two of these guys back here in the back. I'm not sure what they are, some kind of Oscar or something, but they're pretty aggressive. And anyhow, they've actually spawned once and had some fry, and since they had their fry, their babies, they have been pretty dominant over everything else in here. They've actually killed an algae eater. They killed off something else too. I forgot what it was, but it's just kind of evolution and nature of the beast. If they're going to protect their babies, and so that's why they become so aggressive. They keep everything around this castle. They stay in this castle. You can see in the back where they really just dug out the substrate, the gravel, because they're trying to make a bed to lay their fry in. And so anyways, a lot of these other fish, a lot of them like to stay down at the bottom. They're kind of scavenger type, but they'll keep them flushed up to the top because they're so aggressive. And but she only had to fry one time. It was about a month ago, or maybe. Okay, the water change in this one is going to be, we're going to go ahead and take 10 gallons out. It's a 30-gallon tank. 10% would be 3 gallons. I just feel like 10 gallons is what I did last time, and it seems to really clear up the tank. Really does a good job just getting those 10 gallons out. So we're going to do that, and we're going to start by removing the cap, removing the lid. I got it's got a real simple lid. It's got a connection right here for the light. So I'm going to take that out and set it over here on the side and do like we did last time. Get the old gravel vacuum, get it down here, get the other end in the bucket, pump it a couple times, prime it, and let's get that water out of there. Oh, little fish, oh, what's going on? Very curious, guys. I wish the lighting was better. You can see where it's pulling the dirt, nitrate stuff out of the substrate. So you can kind of spread your gravel around while you're doing this. Just kind of rearrange it. I'll take some of it back there where they dug a hole around the castle. Most of this is gravel, so it's not really, it could pull some of it up and through if you really let it fill up, but for the most part, you can kind of let it come back out. Later on when I do the 150-gallon tank, I got sand. It's a marine tank, salt water, so I got sand for the substrate, so we won't be doing it like this because it'll pull the sand just straight up through the hoses. We don't want that. Sand's pretty expensive, but All right, that's one bucket down. I'm going to get this second bucket out of here. All right. Just gotta get on this side and get some more of that. You can see it kind of clouding up maybe in there. I wish we had more light over the tank, but I guess we don't. All right, move the light over here. Maybe you can see a little bit more about what we're doing. But yeah, basically just, there's nothing to it. There's, you know, just pump it out, get the water out of there, get as much dirt out as you can. And it's like you'd vacuum your floor. You just vacuum the gravel bed. So there we go. Having trouble pulling the siphon, but yeah, it's basically just like vacuuming your floor. You know, you're just gonna pull as much dirt out of the carpet as you can, and same thing with the gravel and everything down here. And you know, I'm not an expert. I'm beginner level 2, and that's the reason I'm making this film, because maybe you can be encouraged to get in. You know, if you were thinking on the fence, thinking about getting a fish aquarium and didn't know whether you should or not, just thinking it was too much, heard all the horror stories, you know, maybe it's to encourage you to do it, because it's very, especially the freshwater. I mean, there's just really not much to it. Just put the fish in there and you know, throw the water in it and make sure you prime it, so you're putting you're taking the chlorine out of your tap water, and then just water change. If it looks cloudy, all right, and it's been around a month or so, do a water change. It's not too much to it. If you spend just a little bit of time on the weekend and do a little maintenance, that's all it takes. I'm gonna clean that filter out like we did the canister filter. That's just a filter that hangs inside the tank. Same thing, it's gonna rinse the filter out and put it back in there. All right, I'm gonna let you get a close up of this water right here. So you can see how dirty it is. That's what we're taking out. So, all right. Pull this filter out. Let's take out some of this right here. All right, let's take it to the sink. So we got this filter. Basically, we're just going to take it apart up here. Get the top off. Yeah, that's pretty dirty. See that? Get that out of there. You get all that to clean. See that was due for a cleaning. Sure was. Basically the same type sponge. It's in the canister filters. It's just, the thing is, and this is the only filter. Inside there, each side of the sponge, you can feel a little gravel in the middle of it. But it's just your basic filter for, for your small aquarium, for your 30-gallon aquarium, your hanging side tank. This is a basic filter. You can buy these at Petco. Probably the next time I do it, I'll buy a new filter and put it in there, but I don't know. You can rinse them out, reuse them. Really no sense in buying a new one until it just starts coming apart on you, I think. Yeah. All right, so that's clean. Rinse that off. A little bit more right there. Put this bad boy back together. And there, lock it down, and we will rinse the sink out a little bit. This sink is so handy. Get it rinsed out. Go ahead and start filling this up. We're going to put some prime in this. That's about 2 milliliters. Put that in there. Letting that fill up. In the meantime, follow me and we'll put this filter back in. Let's go stay with that. Really, that thing, it slid down. I'll slide it back up here. Well, you keep it down below the water level. I'm gonna slide it up once I get more water in it. Okay, so I got one 5-gallon bucket filling up, and I poured 1 bucket in here already. You can see it's just hard to pull that 5-gallon bucket in there without messing up the substrate. So, take this time, between your buckets and go back in here and just spread out your gravels. Just kind of get them back over the aerator and get all that kind of spread out. The next bag I pour in, it's going to kind of shift the gravel around a little bit too, but you know, it's not so full, so you can get in there and really move it around to where you want it and kind of get things straightened back up, work it out the way you want it. Yeah, this worked out. All right, one thing I failed to mention is your water temperature. You know, it's kind of common sense, but you don't want to put it in there excessively cold or excessively hot. You know, we try to keep the tanks around 80, you know, 85 degrees, you know, 78, maybe 80, something like that. So when I fill these up, I turn the hot water all the way on, cold water all the way on. All right, so, you know, we're pretty close. You know, you don't want to shock the fish too much. You know, a big shock would probably, you know, shock them to death. But, you know, as long as you get both your hot and your cold, you know, mix them together, it's going to kind of give you that lukewarm temperature that you want, so you don't shock them completely. All right, so I got the last bucket in there. We're full. Everything looks good. I'm gonna go back in here one more time. Spread these rocks out. All right. I know those Oscars they're going to mess them up anyways, but still, can at least get it the way we want it. Kind of plant the plant back. They'll have it dug up. Get buried pretty good, so maybe it won't. But that's it. I'm cut. All right, so I got the last bucket in there. We're full. Everything looks good. I'm gonna go back in here one more time. Spread these rocks out. All right. I know those Oscars they're going to mess them up anyways, but still, can at least get it the way we want it. Kind of plant the plant back. They'll have it dug up. Get buried pretty good, so maybe it won't. But that's it. Put the cap back on this thing. Plug the light up. And we'll take a look at it. Get your wire straightened out, put them back in the grooves. Plug this bad boy up. We're back. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It's got that, you know, a little bit of a cloudy look because you know water just put back in there, but it'll continue to work through the filter, and it'll clear up. It'll clear up a lot more than that and look good. All right, thanks so much for watching today. I really hope you took some value out of this tutorial. You know, we got a lot of progress made. We got the 85-gallon tank, the water changed, cleaned out, the canister filled out. Same thing with the 30-gallon tank, got it cleaned out. And anyhow, I hope you enjoyed it. Hope maybe you're encouraged to maybe get a tank of your own. If I can help you in any way, let me know, and I'll be glad to help you. This was on the project list to do today, but we've run out of time, and I'm just going to kind of segue into a future episode of what I want to do with it. And basically, it needs a water change. Some of the water's evaporated out. You can see the water level has gone down. And I've tried to build up this coral reef on top of this live rock, and it's expensive. I'm going to tell you, it's expensive. That's $100 worth of live rock. That's what I got at the festival, $100. It don't go very far. So I got one coral frag, and it's basically been tipped over. Part of it's on the ground. A coral frag's $20. So I'm just kind of scrapping the idea now of doing the coral reef because it's so pricey to an extent. But what I'm going to do when I go in and make this water change, I'm going to take this colony of live rocks and I'm going to bust up into two spots. I'm going to move some over here to the left side, some over here to the right side, and I'm going to buy an acrylic, fake coral reef and make that the centerpiece of the tank. And on the side where I got this coral reef and this live rock, I'm going to start maybe buying a frag, $20 a frag every week, and kind of get that set up and let that take off on its own and just grow them up that way. And then, say I get good at it, say I get, pretty good at growing the coral and that sort of thing. Well, then I'm going to take the fake coral out and then bridge it all together. Okay, so think about this being a 150-gallon tank and a rectangular tank, vertical tank, or actually it's a square tank. There's so much space up here to fill, and I need some bigger fish. I need the coral. I need a bigger centerpiece, and all that stuff is very expensive. So I'm trying to do it on a budget, and I'm sure most of the amateur novice guys like me will probably be doing the same thing. So that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm gonna go back and get on some yellow tang fish, the blue regal, which I've heard it's pretty tough to maintain. That's what I've been told. So anyhow, I'm gonna try to get the blue regal and the yellow tang and some more clown back in here and go from there. But right now, I'm just not happy with it looking so empty and all this vertical space right here that needs to be filled. So that's my idea right now. In a future episode, I'm going to do the water change and go ahead and set that up and get the centerpiece put back in there. And that's what we'll be doing then. So I hope you enjoyed it. Remember to like it if you like it. If you didn't like it, give it the thumbs down. It's not going to hurt my feelings that much, but because it's still early on, first couple episodes. But I appreciate if you give me the like, hit the subscribe button, and I appreciate it. Thanks. See you next time.